So if technology and trade wars between China and the US are set to intensify, obviously we are going to see fragmentation. And in such a scenario, China is going to prepare to exercise its own hegemony over large portions of the developing world, especially where Western influence and liberal democratic ideas have less currency. Of course, this cannot apply to India. But we are going to be confronted with a situation where China's so-called discourse power is going to increase in direct proportion to whatever it sees as Westlessness, the lack of presence of the West. And they'll be talking about win-win cooperation, the Chinese, and sitting tight, as the proverb goes, in their fishing boat, determined to ride out the storm. Now, if we have to look beyond bipolarity, we have to obviously take into account that there will be scattered groups of countries and coalitions of the like-minded which constitute our region or sub-region. So there's already talk of a D10 or group of democratic countries that link the G7 with India, Australia, South Korea in what are called trusted networks. And the issue of access to strategic resources critical for manufacturing in a fourth industrial revolution is going to be vital, as also the creation of alternate supply chains. Now, if the technology war intensifies, what strategies are there to fill the gap and meet the need? That's what we need to devise. For instance, can India, Japan, and Germany form a technology coalition that combines our strengths in data processing and know-how with the R&D and financial strengths of the other two? Plurilateralism could be the new normal. East and West will become meaningless constructs. And will we see a tightening of cultural norms and methods of governance going by the experience of which countries fought the coronavirus better as we move forward in the future? So the post-pandemic world for India may not be kinder and nicer, but nastier and far more brutish, inward-looking and not more inclusive. And for India, of course, it means a far more unstable global environment. So this is going to be a world without real global leadership in a bipolar configuration. So we will have to hedge and look out for our best interests. And current global trends already point to this instability. Anti-globalization is another strengthening force. Keeping foreigners and outsiders out is another. Industrial and supply chains being broken, that's another scenario. And there's also going to be a fall in American prestige, particularly centered around the Trump administration's handling of the pandemic. So China benefits from this, and the power gap gets reduced between the two. Now, there are going to be doubts in Asia about the durability of US leadership. And I think the US needs to support countries in the region rather than commandeer, rather than seek for them to take sides in its dispute with China, because a US-led approach could box countries into a corner with China. And we need a stronger intra-Asian coordination, and that requires the US to compromise. And I think for India, it will involve creating whatever it may mean, however much the tensions with China have boiled over after Galwan, we still have to think how we can craft a multi-dimensional modus vivendi together with other countries in the region with China. Ambassador Haqqani mentioned ASEAN. Now, ASEAN really wants to retain its maneuverability between both the US and China. It would like the economic linkages with China to go on, and at the same time retain the military security advantages it gets from relations with the United States. So we are really today existing in a rather complex situation, and our own, the challenges that we face in the bilateral construct with China are pretty serious and quite stark today. And it will involve a great deal of introspection, not only about the course we took in our relationship with China over the last 30 years, but it will also involve very, very difficult and calculated and well deliberated decisions when it comes to how we chart a course forward for the future in dealing with the challenge from China, but at the same time understanding that we need stability in this relationship because there are so many unfinished tasks as far as we are concerned in terms of making India a leading global power.